Well, welcome back to part 2 of the beginner needle felting landscape. I hope you enjoyed part 1, and today we're going to finish this picture by adding all the extra details. What I'm doing here is I'm blending the darker blue with the light blue so that we're going to put a darker colour at the top of the picture. As you can see, when I hold it against it, it's just a little bit darker. Just put it on very finely, just pull it thinly and lay it finely on the top, and all this is going to do is make the top of the picture slightly darker. It'll keep your eye in the picture. As you can see, it's quite a subtle effect. When you blend the light blue and the dark blue together, you don't have to be ever so thorough about it, because again it's going to be one of those things where the fact that it's not blended really well will help the whole top of the sky blend together from the dark blue to the light blue. Here I'm just adding more of the light blue blend that we had back over the dark blue, because I want the whole thing to go seamlessly from one shade into another. Make sure you keep needle felting it down well. I've cut my picture out into the circle shape, but you'll see later on that it's still the wrong place, because if I put the tree too far over, when I finally go to put this into the hoop, I will have to move the whole thing over. So even though I'm felting right up to the edges here, I'm going to lose some of it, but you'll see that in a bit. What I've got here now is the blend of the dark blue and the light blue, the same as we put on the top of the picture, and I'm laying it level straight across on the river now. I'm not going to do the whole thing as dark as this, but I want to make sure that all the lines on the river go straight across horizontal, because otherwise if you have them going in weird directions, the water's going to look like it's running out of the picture or going downhill, and water doesn't run like that downhill. Well, I mean it does, but you know what I'm saying, I hope. So just try and lay it as level as you can, and as I go towards the back of the picture, I'm putting it on very, very thinly, because I want the darkest part to be at the front of the picture, and it gets lighter as it goes away, the same as the sky is doing. It's darker on the outside and gets lighter towards the middle. What this is going to do is start to give the impression of ripples and waves, so this is why I want to make sure I use a blend where I've got the light and the dark. I'm now going to blend some of my greens together with some of the white, because I want to make a pale green colour for trees at the back of the picture. I don't want them to stand out too much, I just want the impression of the trees right at the back. And all I'm going to do is tear it into tiny little blobby bits and put them along the back. Nothing special at all, just giving the impression of trees, so they can be different heights and whatever, but obviously keep it fairly small because it is in the distance. you can see now how the bright yellow in the fields actually does look alright once you start to add things around it. It doesn't look as odd as it feels like it's going to when you first put it on. Here I've actually now mixed a little bit of brown with the green mixture I had, because I'm going to start adding a little bits like this along the back. It starts to add a little bit of shade to the trees. I don't want it too heavy or too dark. I just want to show a little bit of definition on the trees at the back where the sun wouldn't actually get to them. It starts to push the things backwards, and it also gives a bit of interest over there. Now I want to add some things extra to the field, so I've mixed some of the beige we have with some of the yellow. Mix it pretty well, but it doesn't have to be perfect. As always, you can just scrunch it around like I'm doing, and I'm actually going to start to lay this field at the front to make it look like it's got hay or something in it. And so I'm going to do stripes just down the field. Don't make them really dense lines. You want it so it's soft. I hope you can see that. So it's kind of soft but runs down the field, and I'm curving it again because I want the riverbank to look like it's down a slope. And just some shade and shadows under the hedges, so only on the bits that would get the shade. And I'm going to put it again, it's a bit like we did on the river. I'm just putting little You can see how adding these little lines onto things starts to make it a bit more 3D. So if you've done the dark green on any other hedges, just do the same thing, just add a little bit of the dark brown to it. This is a bit of the light yellow because I'm going to run it across the top of the hedge where the light would catch it, where the sunlight would catch it. And as I go along the top, you can see it does again, it adds to the 3D effect. Now, when I come to the little tree in a moment, I will make sure that I don't put the line all across behind the tree. I don't know if you can see the little tree, you'll see it in a moment, because obviously that tree would be casting a shadow onto the hedge, so the hedge wouldn't catch any light there. So I need to try and make sure I keep that illusion going. So I'll use my scissors in a moment and chop just behind it, and then just move the little yellow line either side of that tree. I'm going to get my little handful of odds and ends, which is what I've got there, and just pick out whatever I've got there, whatever colour green it is, just to add another hedge. I keep all the little bits, I just shove them in a pile, and then I can keep dipping in and out of it. So don't throw any of your bits away. They come in very handy. And it goes to show how little you have to worry about what colour the green is or how well you mix it. And I'm just now putting a little line back under that hedge as well. As I said in the first video, you can have as many hedges, as many fields as you want. Doesn't matter, it's your picture. I'm now going to put a little bank into the riverside. So I'm mixing some beige and some brown together, and I'm not going to mix it really well. There you go, you can see, so you get a sort of a mottled effect. And I'm going to, so it's in my head it's kind of like mud and rocks, and I'm just going to lay it along here so that we start to get the definition away from the field and onto the water. Just felt it in well. As I say, because I've not mixed it ever so well, I'll have lots of shadows and little bits of highlight on the thing, so it'll look like pebbles or mud or something like that. And as it goes away from me, the bank will get narrower. Now I want to add in little, what would be like tufts of grass that's growing out of the water, little reeds, little sort of thing. So I'm just adding some fine green bits now along the, oh there you go, that's the green, the little flowery bits I keep getting in the wool. So just add some little bits of green along the bank here as well. Got to have somewhere for the newts and frogs to live after all. I varied the greens a little bit because I was thinking again about how on the bank nearest me it would be a little darker, and I thought it would be nice to have a little bit of lighter going away from me, because again, as things go into the distance they do tend to get lighter, and although this isn't very far away, I just thought it would be a nice variation to mix up the greens a little bit there. I don't want anything to look flat, which is why I go backwards and forwards and add different colours in. I was using a little bit of the yellow there just to add some imaginary flowers. We can go back later on and do more of that. Now here I'm mixing some yellow and some green together, and I'm going to spread it very thinly onto some of this field because I want to make it a little more textured, because if you remember we just used the basic green on this field, and I wanted to start to give it a little bit more like you would if you were looking at a grassy field. It's got lights and darks in it, so I'm just going to add it over this field just nice and thin, because you still obviously want to see the colour that's underneath through it. You can see how thinly I'm pulling it there. Some of this will get covered up as well in a minute. I will show you a technique for making it look like grass. So some of it will get covered, but I need to have this down first because I don't know what I'm going to be able to see through the grass or how much it's going to cover it up. This bit here I'm mixing some of the green with some brown because it's now time to start to add a few shadows, and I need this big tree to have a shadow because obviously the sunlight's catching it on one side. There you go. I was trying to show you what direction the shadow would go in. So to make the tree look like it's actually attached to the ground, that's what we're going to do. We're going to add some shadow, and not just of the trunk but also from the shadow that the leaves would cast as well. And I will go back in a minute when I've done this and make some of the trunk shadow a little darker. But again, as you're applying this, just do it thinly. Thinly is better. The more layers you have, you've got more control over it. And even just adding this shadow really makes a difference to the picture. And don't forget the shadow of the little tree as well. I mean, you can go and put shadows under all your trees. I didn't, I just did these two because I thought it would keep it nice and simple. And if I was going to start putting shadows over the trees that are on the right hand side, I've got to consider, if I was doing it properly, for me, I would have to be considering what colour the shadow would be, because I've got different elements on the other side. I've got the yellow stripes and things, and I didn't want to make it too complicated for you, so I thought we'll just do the shadow on this side. You don't notice it, and if you want to go and add a bit of shadow to the other trees or whatever else you've got there, then obviously feel free to do so. But I don't think in the end it made much difference to this picture. Now here I've got the dark blue, as you can see, and I've mixed it with a little bit of the lighter one, and I'm going to start to put some colour, a bit more colour into the river, only on the edges and only on the where the banks that you darkened down in the first place. Because I don't want the river to just be flat either, I want it to have some life in it. And then what we can do in a moment is take some of the light blue and really thinly we'll lay it across the top of this dark and felt it in, and if you do it finely enough it'll look like ripples. I'll see if I can focus in a bit for you so I can show you that in a moment. If you watch, you'll see I'm using my needle to very gently pull things straight, backwards and forwards across the river. It helps to mix it in, and it helps to keep the little lines straight. Every so often I like to go across and trim off the long loose bits that you have. You can see you could do this with white as well if you want to, and just very thinly. I hope you can see that, and I'm just going straight across, and I'm going across the dark bits because that way you'll get what looks like little ripples on the water. But I'm laying it down very finely. This is where I like the merino tops or roving for this sort of thing, because it pulls apart very easily into long thin strands, where you would have a little bit more of an issue with carded wool. You can still do this, you just have to be really careful and very delicate with it. But this is one of the reasons I like this roving, because you can do this, and that's why I like it for the sky as well. And also for doing this little fence I'm going to put in, it's handy as well because you can pull long thin strands out of it. But it's not, you don't have to have it, it's just I like it, it makes my life a little bit easier. And this is just the basic brown. I'm just rolling it into thin bits so I can pull it. So wherever you want one, if you want one, just put in a few little fences. Now I'm not doing highlights and shade on these, I'm just popping it straight in. So we're going to move on to starting to put some grass onto the little field in front of us now. And I'm going to be blending some of the greens together and some of the white and some of the beige, some of the yellow, just all sorts of colours. And if you can, just pull them into long strands. You don't want to scrunch up. What you're aiming for is to get long strands on this. And then pull a thin part. And I like to, I don't think you can see, but I just like to snip the end flat and then lay it on. This is the same way you would lay fur if you were making an animal. You would attach fur in the same way. So I'm laying it flat and I'm just going to needle cut across and keep the strands pointing upwards. And I'm just using the tip of my needle to fluff them up a bit. And then just cut across because I'm going to fold it over on itself now and needle felt that across as well. It doesn't have to be level with the first part you put on. All I'm aiming to do is have strands going upright, and then I'll layer some of this across the field, as you can see. And also what I'm trying to do is fluff it out across the bank so it looks like some of the grass is growing across the bank and out over the water. I'm keeping it fairly small at the moment because I don't want long looking grass here. I just want the texture of something growing upright. So just keep layering it over and felting it in. And this makes a massive difference, I think, because it really does start to look like you've got grass growing there. I don't need it in the distance because you wouldn't see the blades of grass in the distance. I just want it up where I am. So keep in mind, what you would see in real life. And you could also put here, if you wanted to, you could put in some rocks. You could have some rocks in the water, some boulders and things like that. And I've made this bit, I'm flitting now, I've made this a little bit darker because it's coming a bit closer to me. And again, it's all about having contrast, lights and darks in your picture. And because I know that I'm going to lose some of this to the hoop, I'm not going to really go any closer to the edge than that with the actual blades of bits. But I do want the effect of it growing out over the bank, so I'm just making sure all the time that the grass blades are pointing upwards. And now I want to bring some life because this is a bit right on the edge of the picture. So I've got some thicker parts, and you can use any colour greens you like, but make sure you get some light ones, some dark ones. Roll it in your fingers and just lay it on because these are going to be, well, they could be any kind of leaves really. But I want them to be quite tall in the picture. You'll see why in a minute. But make sure you definitely use some light colours. You can use all your greens and put them on like this. Don't waste anything. If you've got some scraps, use that. If you've enjoyed this picture so far, please would you consider giving me a like and a subscribe because it makes a big difference. I'm trying to grow the channel to 100. I want to show kids that old people can do it as well. So if you've liked it and you're getting some benefit out of it, please consider subscribing for me. It would make such a difference and I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Just keep building up your colours until you get something that you're happy with. I don't want it around the whole of the edge of this, I just want it in a small part at the front. And then you can go mad if you have any other colours or anything else, you can start plopping them on as flowers. I'm using the blue because that's what I've used in the rest of the picture. Plus I don't want to use colours that I haven't suggested to you that you get to make this picture. But you can use, so if you don't have any other colours, you can use the blues and the yellows and the whites. You can have quite a variety and just spread them wherever you like. Different colours like this. You can have them, some of them along the bank on the other side by the fence. Just have some fun and pop them about. Well, this is going to be the end of this video. It's only 2 parts and I hope you've really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed making it for you, and I will have a look at another one to make for you as a beginner picture. So I will make quite a variety over time, so you've got something different each time. And I've enjoyed your company. Thank you for being with me. If you've enjoyed it, as I said a bit earlier, please like and share if possible, and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you in whatever video I make next that you'd like to join me in. Have a lovely day. Thank you very much. Bye now.